The ceiling fan whirred above the room, its gentle hum punctuating the heavy silence. Mr. Gerard Taylor adjusted his spectacles, looking from the man to the woman sitting across from him. The counselor had seen many couples in this very room, some hopeful, some broken, but none quite like this pair. Ifeoma and Chukwudi Okonkwo sat at opposite ends of the beige sofa, their postures as rigid as the unyielding backs of ancestral chairs. "Thank you for coming," Gerard began, his voice measured, his tone soaked in professionalism. "As I've always said, this is a safe space. Whatever is shared here stays here. We listen, we don't judge." Chukwudi's lips twitched, though it was hard to tell whether it was amusement or discomfort. Ifeoma, on the other hand, shifted slightly, crossing and uncrossing her legs with the nervousness of a schoolgirl summoned to the headmaster's office. "Who would like to begin?" Gerard asked. Ifeoma straightened her floral dress and cleared her throat. "I think I should go first. He'll just twist everything if I let him talk first." "Ifeoma, please," Chukwudi interjected, his voice calm but laced with irritation. "This is about both of us, not a court hearing." Gerard raised his hand lightly, a gesture to maintain peace. "One at a time. Ifeoma, go ahead." She clasped her hands together, her knuckles whitening. "It started small," she began. "At first, I thought it was just a phase. But then I found out about the closet." Gerard's eyebrows lifted ever so slightly. "The closet?" "Yes," Ifeoma replied, her voice trembling. "Chukwudi has costumes. He's got this whole hidden life where he dresses up as the market woman. With head ties and wrappers and those ridiculous baskets. And he's been doing it for years." Chukwudi let out a deep sigh, his face as unreadable as a carved mask. "It's called storytelling, Ifeoma. Lots of people do it. It's cultural preservation." "Cultural preservation," she snapped, her voice rising. "You were pretending to sell tomatoes in the living room, Chukwudi. Wearing my gelly. And you," she stopped, glancing at Gerard, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "You insisted I call you Momonechi." Gerard nodded slowly, his pen gliding across his notepad. "And how did that make you feel, Ifeoma?" "How do you think it made me feel?" she retorted. "My husband, a grown man, pretending to be a market woman. It's ridiculous." And then there was the other thing. Chukwudi shifted in his seat, his expression darkening. "Are we really going to bring that up?" Ifeoma ignored him. "Last month, I found him in the backyard. Naked. Completely stark naked, Gerard. He was," her voice lowered to a whisper, "rolling around in the yam patch." Gerard paused, his pen hovering midair. "Chukwudi, would you care to explain?" Chukwudi folded his arms across his chest. "It's a ritual. A connection to the land. It's very important in Igbo spirituality." Ifeoma's laughter was harsh and sudden. "Igbo spirituality? You were chanting about harvest blessings while covered in mud. The neighbors saw you and haven't stopped gossiping since." Gerard placed his notepad on the table between them. "Chukwudi, Ifeoma clearly feels uncomfortable with some of your practices. How do you respond to that?" Chukwudi's jaw tightened. "Fine. If we're airing secrets, let's talk about Ifeoma's nighttime activities. Do you know, Gerard, she's been sneaking out of the house at 2 a.m. Ifeoma's face froze. "Chukwudi, Don't you dare." "Oh, I will," he said, his voice rising. "She's been meeting with a group of drummers. And not the kind that play at weddings. I found their group chat on her phone. They've got names like Thunderhounds and Drum Oracle. And do you know what they do, Gerard? They play drums in the forest. Barefoot." Gerard blinked, his professional mask slipping for just a moment. "Ifeoma, is this true?" Ifeoma's hands flew to her face. It's not what it sounds like. It's a cultural workshop. We're exploring ancestral rhythms through community." Chukwudi snorted. "Cultural workshop. You came home smelling like palm wine and smoke." Gerard rubbed his temples. "It seems there are layers to your marriage that require unpacking. But let's focus on the common ground. What brought you together in the first place?" Ifeoma and Chukwudi exchanged glances, their hostility momentarily giving way to something softer. Ifeoma's lips curved into a small smile. "We met at a village festival. He was reciting proverbs, and I thought he had the most beautiful voice I'd ever heard." Chukwudi's face softened. "And she was wearing this yellow blouse. I remember thinking she looked like sunshine." For a moment, the room was quiet, the tension melting into nostalgia. Gerard seized the opportunity. "Perhaps there's a way to bridge this gap between you. Ifeoma, could you try to understand Chukwudi's need for creative expression? And Chukwudi, could you respect Ifeoma's cultural pursuits, even if they're unconventional?" Ifeoma hesitated. "I suppose I could try." Chukwudi nodded slowly. "Me too. As long as she doesn't bring home any more talking drums." Gerard smiled, picking up his pen again. "Progress starts with small steps. Beneath all this, I see a couple that still cares deeply for each other." Ifeoma and Chukwudi looked at each other, a flicker of hope in their eyes. Beneath the absurdities, the costumes, and the rituals, something real remained. Beneath the sheets of their chaotic lives lay the fabric of a love that, while tattered, was not beyond repair. The tension in the room lingered for a moment, but it was a different kind of tension now, one filled with possibility. Gerard leaned back in his chair, carefully observing the couple before him. They had started as two individuals with opposing worlds, but now, something had shifted. Ifeoma took a deep breath, her shoulders loosening slightly. Maybe I've been too quick to judge," she admitted, her voice softening. "I see now that you're not trying to embarrass me, Chukwudi. You're just trying to connect with something deeper." Chukwudi uncrossed his arms and uncuffed his sleeves. His voice was quieter now, more vulnerable. "I didn't know how to share that side of myself with you. I thought you might laugh at me, or worse, leave. But I didn't mean to hurt you." Gerard watched as the couple exchanged a look that spoke volumes. There was still a long road ahead, but perhaps, for the first time, they were both ready to take the first step together. "I'll try to understand your traditions, Chukwudi," Ifeoma said, her voice steady now. "And, if the yam patch is really important to you, I'll make an effort to not laugh." Chukwudi's eyes softened, a small, grateful smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "And I promise, no more nighttime drumming adventures. I respect your space, even if I don't understand it completely." Gerard felt a sense of accomplishment, but he knew the real work was just beginning. Marriage, after all, was about understanding and compromise, about finding common ground in a world that often seemed too divided. As I've always said, Gerard concluded, his voice warm, a relationship isn't about perfection. It's about making room for the other person's quirks, their traditions, their eccentricities. It's about creating a space where both of you can grow together. The couple nodded, their eyes meeting with a shared understanding. The road ahead might be bumpy, but there was hope now, a chance to rewrite their story.